Now, talking about full-time jobs, I'm not quite sure, I'm sure most of us aren't sure what Prince Andrew does to earn a crust, and he gets a very considerable crust, we know, but there are reports this weekend that he is considering writing his autobiography.
I'd be amazed.
His people are denying that, although there are people who have contacts with him. He says, no, he's really looking into it quite seriously. So on the assumption that he might be, what do we think? I mean, after that car crash TV interview, shouldn't he stay well away from bearing his soul?
Well, is he going to tell us all about what really happened with Virginia Giuffre, the woman he gave £10 million to, though he'd never met her? Because if he wants to do that, he could go into court and do it.
Well, he sat down with Emily Maitlis on Newsnight and was going to set the record straight. And
look where he is now.
Yeah, it didn't turn out too well.
Is it an autobiography or is it a colouring-in book? With all the pictures. I mean,
I'd lay money on it.
It would be ghosted.
I don't think it'll happen. I think the King would have an absolute fit. Because they don't need another kiss and tell, but he's going to tell what it's really like to be a spare.
Well, they're saying, unlike a TV interview, in an autobiography, he would have complete control over what went onto the page. But then, of course, it would just be picked apart, wouldn't it?
And there's so much toxicity around him because of what happened with, allegedly, with Virginia Giuffre, and he did give her £10 million.
I mean, personally, as a Republican, I'd love him to do a book. But is this really just negotiations with his big brother, who he is moaning isn't giving him any of the inheritance from the Queen, the 650 million quid?
We don't know
out of his bigger house into a still a very large house, but not quite as big. And so, unless you give me the cash and you pay for me, I am going to write a book and bring shame on this family.
Do you mean he might be using it as a threat?
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Wow.
I don't think he's going to write a book. That'd be my hunch. And he'd remember his mother. Remember, he was the Queen's favourite son. That was what we always were told.
Yes.
She would not want him to do that.
What if he wrote a book about his relationship with the Queen? Because she's so popular.
Yeah.
Perhaps he could give an insight into the favourite son.
I like your thinking, and he will be immediately accused of cashing in on his mother and besmirching her. Well, if you really want him, a bloke who paid was 12 million.
She was very indulgent towards him.
I think do that, Prince Andrew, as long as you give every single profit and royalty to a charity.
To a charity.
Okay. Very, very quickly. If you either of you ever lost a cat?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a great cat lover.
Here's a way of finding a lost cat. Go on to the gay dating website.
I've never... Why are you looking at me?
Grindr. No, I'm so sorry.
Why are you looking at me? I've never gone on a gay dating website in my life.
Because
what's a gay dating website, he asks?
No, there's this woman, a pet owner.
He's in a civil partnership now. How dare you?
For 10 years, thank you.
Listen, very quickly, a woman called Erin Johansson, she lost her black and white cat. It went missing last weekend, and a friend said, well, why don't you put it on Grindr and see if you can...
Why would you put a missing cat on Grindr?
Well, that's just what the owner said, but she did, and she got the cat back.
Well...
There we are.
How about that?
There we go. Next time Suki takes a walk...
Yeah. Rosie and Minnie. If Rosie and Minnie go missing, I am not going on Grindr.
Suki takes a walk could be another type of site, actually.
Love that.
Thank you both very much indeed. Just, I don't know if you know, but Theresa May is the biggest earner for second jobs. Do you know how much she charges for speeches?
£100,000.
100 grand.
And 200 grand not to make one.
Kevin and I have sat through many of them. You pay good money not to listen.
But may I just say, I think she's overtaken now by Boris Johnson with his $5 million. That his book deal and getting his advances.
How much does he charge for a speech?
300,000. Sometimes $500,000. Sometimes $500,000.
None of them are fact-checked.
But at least, whatever you think of him, it would be entertaining.
Very entertaining.
He's a great... Imagine sitting through an hour of Theresa May.
You can't. I tell
you.
you,
but hang on a moment.
I don't think he's entertaining.
In the wake of the Queen dying, do you remember Theresa May gave one of the most charming anecdotes about being with the Queen?
With cake, wasn't it?
The cheese. Slipping off the plate.
Yeah.
She's not. She's dull, May, but she's not without merit. She is. She thinks.
He never said that when she was Prime Minister.
Damning with
He never said that when she was Prime Minister.
It was the best thing I could come up with.
Kevin Maguire?
Yeah.